Welcome back, family. Today I am super excited and it is a cause for a true celebration because at long last, after like 3 years, I have finally upgraded from my crusty iPhone XS to the iPhone 13 Pro. A solid 90% of why I chose to upgrade to this phone was quite simply for the camera, and that's really no surprise there. The cameras on these things have come such a long way, especially the wide camera. That was such a huge factor to me. Ever since the first wide camera came out on an iPhone, I have been like sitting on the sidelines with severe FOMO, and I'm happy to finally be included. So yeah, if you haven't caught on already, today's video is going to be about photography with the iPhone 13 Pro. This isn't going to be a super technical video. It's actually going to be pretty simple. I'm not big on specs. I'm not a huge spec kind of guy. You can very easily look that up online. I'm more interested in just kind of seeing how much more quality I can squeeze out of this as opposed to my old iPhone XS, which really wasn't that bad if we're being honest. You guys know, based on my memory dumps and all that, that I am big on documenting my life and just having my phone be a means of helping me document the day-to-day. Like I said, I'm going to keep things pretty simple. I'm just going to put it in RAW mode and kind of see what I can get, especially with that wide-angle lens. I am a wide-angle shooter through and through. I think that it is a super cool perspective, and I think it's pretty underrated. We all love the portrait links with the beautiful bokeh and stuff, but I think wide angle is severely underappreciated, so very excited there to see what we can do with that. You already know I'm going to document the shooting process, so I'll bring you with me. You'll see kind of firsthand the perspectives of what I'm going to shoot, and I'll come back and I'll give them kind of a quick and dirty edit, see what I can get out of them, see what I can really squeeze out of them. After I finish up with the edit, maybe I'll pick a few of my favorites and kind of go over my overall experience and some of the pros and cons, what I liked, didn't like, you know the deal. So without further ado, let's hop in the Jeep, head downtown, and see what kind of shots I can get with the iPhone 13 Pro. All right, so this first location we're gonna stop at is called the Marina. It's one of my favorite spots in town. There are so many beautiful, just gorgeous views. There's views of a lot of historic things in the city, like the bridge and the peanut warehouse and stuff like that. You've also got a lot of boats and just river and general kind of nature views. So I'm really excited for what I'm gonna be able to get here. Let's check it out. So there weren't too many great shots at that last location. I feel like it's one of my favorite spots and I love to shoot it with a camera, but I feel like some of the shots aren't as great as I wanted them to be, but I do think some of them may turn out in the edit. We'll have to see when I get back home. But now we're kind of in a more kind of city, urban-y area with some more of the historic buildings in the area. We've got like the Riverwalk, the water tower, the peanut warehouse, and the bridge kind of all right here in our immediate vicinity. So I think we're gonna be able to pull some really cool shots out of that, especially with the wide camera. That's kind of the thing that I'm most excited to play with. So let's see what we can get. All right, so I definitely think that some of those turned out pretty great, definitely better than the last location. I'm super excited to edit some of those and see how they came out. We're gonna head actually into town now and see what we can get with some of the historic houses and churches and stuff like that. So let's see what we can get out there. Okay, so I think that all in all, we've got some really great stuff, especially after that last little stretch. And we're kind of in gold now right now. The sun is going down super fast. So what I'm gonna try to do is take one last photo of the Jeep actually with the wide angle lens in kind of a cool location. I think I'm gonna go back and park it by the peanut warehouse. I think that will be kind of a cool final shot to end on before we get back home and start on the edit. Welcome back to the studio. At this point, you've gotten to see some of what I was able to get with the phone. And to be honest, my two biggest takeaways from the entire thing are the wide angle and the telephoto lenses. Those were the two biggest upgrades for me coming from the iPhone XS. And honestly, the telephoto lens was a sleeper. I did not expect to like the telephoto as much as I thought. As I told you in the beginning, I am personally more of a wide angle shooter. And while the wide angle lens definitely is my favorite, it's just so amazing, the telephoto lens is super, super handy. A big thing about, you know, shooting in general with a camera or whatever, it's like when you can't zoom to where you want to get to, it really sucks. And having that telephoto option and being able to just kind of punch in on something, and punch in like a good bit, mind you, like you can really kind of zoom in there with this camera, and just the amount of quality that it provides, especially in that RAW mode, is pretty mind-blowing. The wide angle is obviously my favorite part of the phone. The perspective you can get with it is just so cool. You can get just so close to something and still get this huge kind of big scale bird's eye view type thing with it. And it's hard to explain the feeling that it gives me. I really love wide photography, and I was really just schoolgirl giggly over a lot of these photos. I definitely wouldn't say that I'm hard to impress per se, but in general, I'm not really a phone shooter. I don't think that I'm above it or anything. I've just never really gotten a whole lot of enjoyment out of shooting with my phone. It's like I've invested thousands of dollars in all of my camera gear. It's like, why wouldn't I shoot with my camera? But at the end of the day, you've heard this in so many videos and in so many different scenarios. The best camera is just the one that you have on you. With the quality that I can get out of this thing, it's really incredible, and I'm gonna be more comfortable going without my camera sometimes, especially with those like memory dump type videos. I can take this thing downtown in the city and stuff and just take all kinds of really cool shots with it and get some really cool video as well. And video with this phone is going to be a separate video entirely. But overall, I'm ridiculously impressed. Another big takeaway for me was just the dynamic range. It is absolutely mad, the details that you can pull out of these shots and just the detail that's in it in general, especially when you shoot RAW. I would say the RAW isn't needed for day-to-day use, but if you really want to kind of squeeze everything you can get out of it, the RAW mode is totally worth it. And finally, I'll go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Does this replace a camera? This could be a whole separate video. I just want to touch on it because I know that a lot of people are pretty snobby about this. And obviously, it does not replace a camera. It does not replace a dedicated photography machine. You got to remember, this is a camera app on a phone that's used for, at this point, 100 different things in our daily life. The camera is just icing on the cake, and I do think that companies are going a lot harder on the cameras these days, but I don't think a phone camera will ever get to the point that it truly replaces a dedicated camera. And I don't think that that's a bad thing to say at all. If this is all you have, by all means, it's amazing. Shoot portraits on it, shoot your daily life on it, anything that gets you to document your daily life. But I'll just say that as far as like the sensor size, and even though the night mode is cool, just the low light capability and everything else is just quite simply not there. It's not on par with something like a full frame camera like I'm shooting on right now. While phones aren't necessarily as good as cameras though, I do think that the major leg up that phones have over cameras is the fact that they fit in your pocket and you can take them anywhere. And nobody's gonna act weird about you filming something with your phone as opposed to me filming something with my $3,500 camera with a big old lens on it. You just don't get the same reaction. You can take this more places, you can do more things with it. And at the end of the day, if you get the shot versus not getting the shot, which one's better? One big kind of major key thing that I think people don't really realize is how much other fundamental aspects of photography will improve phone photography. Things like composition and like angles and all that. All of that makes a huge deal in photography. And with phones, typically we just kind of point and shoot, just kind of capture in weird angles and stuff. But if you actually take the effort to maybe put the grid up on your phone and like pay attention to it and like set up your thirds and stuff, all artsy and whatnot, you can get some really killer shots that are like ad worthy. I do think as well that your phone can act as a great stepping stone if you do want to get a camera in the future, or if you just want to level up your photography game in general. Once you kind of master what's going on with your phone, and if you can get really good shots on your phone, you're gonna kill it when you get a real dedicated photography camera in your hands. I do think it's safe to say that this thing has totally exceeded my expectations, and more than just the camera on it, it's an awesome phone. The ProMotion on it is insane. Definitely do let me know what else you'd like to see, because honestly, it is just a great time to be a nerd right now, especially with just cameras and phones and other types of tech. So I really want to squeeze everything I can out of this phone and just make all types of cool content with it. And yeah, just let me know what you'd like to see. Leave me some feedback. Let me know what you like, what you didn't like. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. We're trying to grow the channel big time this year, and I really thank you for tuning in. Always remember that you are blessed and you are loved, and as always, I'll be back soon.